Yeah, KJ's coming on at 9:30, so we have a little bit of time. I was fascinated by a lawsuit that took place against MSNBC, specifically on something that Rachel Maddow said. So Maddow came out and said that a doctor at one of the immigration centers was a uterus collector, and effectively slandered a person who she was going after. Now, this is the segment that got them in trouble. Now, they settled this lawsuit. I think it was several $1,000,000. In fact, let me get the exact amount before I even go to the video. So it was trying to find the exact lawsuit, $30 million lawsuit. $30 million lawsuit filed by Evans, Klein, Georgia gynecologist, Dr. Mahendra Amen. And just so you can see the article itself that this is being pulled from. Now, I don't see the amount that they settled for. But the Democratic lawyer who settled the uterus collector lawsuit with MSNBC parents says Maddow was preposterous. This is Stacey Evans, represented Georgia gynecologist Dr. Mahendra Amin, who settled a $30 million defamation lawsuit. Attorney Stacey Evans, an elected Democrat who regularly watches MSNBC, meaning the person who was the attorney for the guy is a Democrat, often watches MSNBC. All right, let's keep going. It said in an interview Thursday that Rachel Maddow's treatment of her client in the, quote, uterus collector, unquote, case was preposterous and disappointing. NBC Universal, the parent company of NBC, and MSNBC last week formally settled a $30 million lawsuit filed by Evans' client, Georgia gynecologist Dr. Mahendra Amin, who was the subject of a report claiming he performed unnecessary hysterectomies at an immigration and customs enforcement center. Now, this was the thing, the video that got them in trouble. I slightly remember this, I think. Uterus collector is funny. Let's watch the clip first.
This was like an experimental concentration camp. It was like they're experimenting with our bodies. The nurse who contributed to this whistleblower complaint explains it like this, quote, everybody this doctor sees has a hysterectomy, just about everybody. He's even taken out the wrong ovary on one detained immigrant woman. She was supposed to get her left ovary removed because it had a cyst on the left ovary. He took out the right one. She had to go back to take out the left, and she wound up with a total hysterectomy. She still wanted children. So she has to go back home now and tell her husband that she can't bear kids. She said she was not all the way out under anesthesia and heard the doctor tell the nurse that he took out the wrong ovary. The nurse says she and her fellow nurses, quote, questioned among ourselves, like, goodness, he's taking everybody's stuff out. That's his specialty. He's the uterus collector.
He's the uterus collector. He's the uterus collector. The problem with this is that behind the scenes, when they were in their meeting, she had skepticism on the legitimacy of this story, as they point out in the article, where they weren't necessarily, like, meaning, even though she came out and did this, behind the scenes, when they were having a conversation. So right here, just to show it, I don't want you to think I'm making it up. I like to show what I'm talking about. Right here. Evans, who represented Amin, along with co-counsel Scott Grubman, believes MSNBC's anti-Trump coverage leading up to the 2020 presidential election played a role in the network's conduct and eagerness to tie Amin to Trump's immigration policy. Quote, for example, Rachel Maddow, when in her planning meeting with her team, she's saying, if it is true, we should go with it, but I don't want to assume it's true, Evans said, noting that Maddow was, quote, expressing some doubt, unquote, according to the documents revealed in the discovery. 8 minutes later, according to the sort of TikTok internal minutes that they took, 8 minutes later, she's like, yeah, let's go with it. And it's going to be in the A block, Evans said. So Maddow herself wasn't sure about the story, but Maddow still ran with the story and ran with the story with this idea that Trump is bad, Trump immigration policy is bad, and you have a doctor who's working under this kind of Trump immigration policy that is just taking uteruses just because. Just because. Like that was the thing that he did was take uteruses. Come to find out, right here, Judge Wood also I'll just read this part. Judge Lisa Goebel Wood, the Southern District of Georgia, previously ruled that a jury could reasonably find actual malice, and the trial was set to begin April 22nd in Waycross, Georgia, in light of the settlement agreement the court canceled the scheduled trial. Judge Wood also previously ruled that multiple statements were proven false, noting, quote, undisputed evidence has been established that there were no mass hysterectomies or high number of hysterectomies at the facility, and Dr. Amin performed only 2 hysterectomies on female detainees from ICE. The doctor is, quote, not a uterus collector. Rachel Maddow, just to be very clear, did a story calling the man a uterus collector when he only did 2 hysterectomies, according to the court documents. That is amazing. That is amazing. And MSNBC apparently had to pay a lot of money or some settlement for doing so, even though the amount of the settlement is undisclosed. I will tell you that the fact that they had a settlement at all on some level indicates guilt. You got it wrong. And not just got it wrong, you slandered a man in getting it wrong. You effectively said that this man went to work every day looking for uteruses to collect, to take, as if he was taking them home and putting them in a box. Who's next? It looks like she has a uterus. Let's get her. That's amazing. That is amazing. They called the story preposterous. They said it was preposterous. Going from one preposterous thing to another preposterous